Hello, everybody, and of course, welcome back to another episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
That is.
You already know what to do. If you are on Facebook, please make sure you go ahead and hit that like and share button. If you are on our Facebook page, go ahead and hit that like button so you can, of course, keep up with us on Facebook. If you are on our YouTube page, go ahead and just hit us up on the red subscribe button so you can be subscribed to our channel. And as well, go ahead and hit up that notification bell so you can be notified for shows like this one in the future. And as well on Twitter, go ahead and check us out on Periscope, our X Talking Ish page, or as well with my personal page at X underscore Williams 81. Alrighty, then we are here for week 12 preview show. Of course, if you joined us on Tuesday for the recap, and of course on Thursday for our special Thanksgiving preview show for some of these games, y'all should know that we don't have the full slate of games for this Sunday, but it's perfectly cool because we have all of the rest of the games that weren't played on Thursday will be on Sunday. There is no Monday Night Football game this week. So all of the games will be today. Before we get into the slate, though, and before I ask my good friend Ish how's he doing today, I'm going to let you know right now. The NFL slate is not that pretty this week. It is what it is. It should be a lot of good teams beating up on bad teams if those good teams are contenders and not pretenders. And there also could be some upsets that it's going to leave us scratching our heads on Tuesday and wondering how did this team beat this team, right? But for the most part, like I told Ish in the pre-show, I don't think too many people will be watching American football today. I think more people will be watching the international version of football. Ish, take it away.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, there's nothing too exciting today on the NFL front. I mean, there are a couple games that are going to be interesting because there are some teams that aren't in the hunt, but they're still pretty decent teams, right? And they could cause some problems for some of the teams that are contending for playoff spots, need to secure playoff spots, especially the ones that are on the wild card. In the wild card hunt, they really need to fight to secure those wild card spots because it is a tight race for the wild cards in both conferences. So it's going to be interesting to see what teams step up and close out on these, close out the season with these games that are easier, or not necessarily easier, but easier opponents, you would hope, and what teams are going to drop games today. So that's what I'm excited about. But like you said, I probably won't be watching too many of these early games. I'll be watching the World Cup, Canada, Croatia, and then Germany, Spain at 1 o'clock, which I would prefer to watch that over most of these games anyway.
And I will also say from my good friend Ish, with him being an Ohio State fan, I know he doesn't really want to watch football right now. I know he's still probably a little upset. But before we get into, of course, this Buccaneers game, I have to segue into the greatest, not the greatest Michigan quarterback, but one of the greatest Michigan quarterbacks, Mr. Thomas Brady. And before I get into it, I just have to say, it's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it at that. We have bragging rights for another 365 days, and I'm just gonna leave it alone. We'll revisit this again next year. I love you as always, Ish, for being a good sport, but 22-point beat down at home, huh? I remember those days where Michigan used to get that ass whooped like that. Woo! It's like the tide might be turning, huh? No.
I'm just gonna leave you alone. Go
All right,
ahead.
no problem
Go ahead.
there. No problem. Let's go ahead and move
Mm-hmm.
on to the NFL slate. Tampa Bay Buccaneers head off to Cleveland to take on the Browns. Now, this is not the last game that Jacoby Brissett is going to play, but most likely will be his last time starting for the Browns for this season. Deshaun Watson's suspension is now officially over with. He is allowed to start playing in games once again. Most likely, it will be next week against the Houston Texans here in Houston. Um, with that being said, let's just be honest with you, Ish. I mean, let's be honest with everybody here, Ish. Um, I think the Browns as an organization hope to be in a better position than they are right now with Watson coming back from his suspension to try to make a late postseason run. It's not going to happen. This season's pretty much over with. The Browns are another great example of, we talk about it all the time, is every team in the NFL is talented. Every team in the NFL has talent, right? I mean, the Browns have probably top two or top three running back in the league. You have a pretty damn good offensive line. You have a decent defense. It's not as good as what it was in the last couple of years, but with just not being able to have that quarterback at the helm, as in Deshaun Watson, the guy that you spent all this money for, the team is just really a shell of themselves at the moment. They're playing off of they're just playing off of their own talent, and also, of course, the coach is preparing a decent game plan for them to succeed. But for the most part, even when Watson comes next week, they're not going to do anything this season. The season's over with. Let's just get, and I said this last week and the week before, let's just get Watson acclimated back into playing football once again at a high level. Let's give him these 6 games left, and then let's just get ready for next season to hopefully starting off with, let's try to win the division, right? Let's try to win the division, and then after that, win a playoff. Let's earn a playoff game at home. We obviously winning the division. Let's win a playoff game at home, and then we go from there. These Super Bowl hopes and trying to take over the AFC with Watson being there, that is, I think, something that's laughable. Honestly, if you just look at the AFC right now, Watson's a hell of a quarterback, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't played football in over a year now. And that is going to show. I mean, we saw it in the preseason when he was playing, right? I know it's preseason. Everybody's rusty. Everybody rusty in the preseason. But he just did not look like himself. So once he gets back this season, I would like to see him try to, as much as possible, get the rust off him, stay healthy, because it's not going to help you at all coming out there for a game and a half, getting hurt, and you're out again for another 6 more weeks. So for the Browns, as we all see, we both have the same pick for the Buccaneers. This game is mainly more for the Buccaneers to continue to try to win this division, because you have Atlanta Falcons right on your heels to try to take that spot away from you more than the Browns itself is.
Yeah, immediately right off the bat, we kick it off with one of those games that, like we said, fairly good teams that haven't been, performing that well against teams that are in playoff hunt, right? Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in the playoff hunt for the AFC South. The NFC South. They need to win this game because Atlanta's right there on their heels. And Atlanta has a pretty decent matchup today as well. So you're hoping, if you're Tampa Bay, to go out there and take care of business. And just to touch on the Deshaun Watson situation, like you said, this is a guy that hasn't played football for over a year now. He's going to be coming back into the swing of things. He's got some pieces around him, but his introduction isn't going to change anything for the Cleveland Browns. Only from a moral standpoint, it changes something, but on the field, I don't expect much to change because the Browns haven't been that bad on offense. They actually have the 10th highest scoring offense. They're 4th in total yards. So they're actually performing at a high level on the offensive side. It's the defense this year that has let them down. The defense is third to last in points against. That's not going to do. It doesn't matter if you have the 10th highest scoring offense. If you're giving up points week in and week out to the opposing team, it's going to be hard no matter who your quarterback is to win games. So really, it's going to be a situation of Deshaun Watson coming back, getting some reps under his belt, and preparing for next season. They're going to have to reload on the defensive side, try to find some pieces to help out on that defensive line, help out in that secondary, and then come back next year and see what they're able to do in the AFC North, because it is a little wide open. I think not everybody's sold on the Bengals or the Ravens. So, maybe next year they'll be able to come out and contend for the AFC North. But today is all about Tampa going out and handling their business and winning this game. You just got to be professional, go out there, do your job, get through this. It's going to be hard, but get through it and then look on to the next week.
Yes, sir. I definitely agree. Let's get to the comment section right quick. First one that says the Browns look like the same old Baker Browns, which isn't a good thing at all. He also said, did y'all see the photo of the guy that broke in and did donuts on the field? Now, I do know, of course, that happened. I just haven't seen any videos or pictures. So, Fracture, go ahead and send that to your boy in the DMs. I would love to see that picture. Also, I just want to look at the weather for this Cleveland game. It is projected to be 54 degrees with a little bit of rain. So that's something that could be affected. But if you, of course, are in Tampa, Tampa should be used to playing in rainy conditions, so that shouldn't affect them too much. Weather should be 554 degrees. That's not 34. So it's no excuse for Tampa Bay. If you want to make a playoff run, take care of your business. Also, Travis Crow says, fellas, hope y'all had a blessed Thanksgiving. Hope you did as well.
Morning,
Thank you for the
Travis.
love as always. And just to go back to the Michigan Ohio State game, Fracture Walnut says,
Leave that in the past.
CJ, I am leaving a lot. He has a question. He says, CJ looks shook in this game. He asks, does his draft stock drop because of this game?
His draft stock is exactly where I had it before. I didn't think he was that good I wasn't sold on him being the number one pick or so picked really highly because honestly, he's looked good, but he hasn't looked like a pro prospect to me. He's just looked like a guy that similar to
a guy that's in the system, and
similar to Justin Fields.
But Justin Fields, I like Justin Fields more of a professional quarterback.
Well, I think,
but we'll see what happens once they get into the team and see what they put around them. We'll see what happens. To me, and we'll leave it alone with this. He's a guy that's able to benefit off the Ohio State system, just like quarterbacks in the past before him at Ohio State. How good is he really when he doesn't have a whole bunch of 5-star and 4-star?
He doesn't have that pro build to me.
That's what's going to have to. We're going to have to really see, and we're also going to have to wait and see when we talk about this more on the draft show, because you know how Fracture Walnut likes trying to get us to talk about things before the show actually happens. So hold up there. Let's wait a couple more months after all season. We'll get all to the draft talk and all that good stuff. We'll talk about C.J. Stroud. We'll talk about Bryce Young. We'll talk about Will Anderson. We'll talk about all them folks. Okay. We're waiting for that. All right. Fracture Walnut says, tag you on Twitter for the photo. I appreciate that, boss. I'll check it out in a little bit. Let's get to the Bengals versus the Titans. This is a rematch of last year's playoff divisional game where the Titans were the number one team in the AFC. Ended up losing the game to the Bengals after recording 9 sacks on Joe Burrow. Still ended up losing that game. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, and I'll just throw it to you. At the moment, the Bengals are Ryan Tannehill's kryptonite. Ryan Tannehill's 0-4 against the Bengals, have not beaten the Bengals so far as a Titan, and should have won last season. Or sorry, should have won in the playoffs last year. So let's not look in the past, and let's go ahead and move forward and take care of business right now, because of, if you look at the way the Bengals are set up right now, they're a little banged up. Joe Mixon is out, and of course, Jamar Chase is still out. So with that being said, if you are the Tennessee Titans, you have to take care of business at home. I understand the Bengals are a good team. I understand they are surging. They are getting better week in and week out. But even with the Bengals coming into this game as a 1-point favorite, if you've watched the Tennessee Titans over the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season, you should know this Tennessee Titans team is a really good team, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So if you are, again, the Tennessee Titans need to take care of business, win this game at home, and let's go ahead and move forward. Ish.
Yeah, I really like you pointing out that the Titans are a good team on the defensive side of the ball, because that's what it all comes down to today. I think that as we saw in the playoff game, it was a defensive battle, really. And I think with the high-flying Cincinnati Bengals, even without Jamar Chase, they're still able to score 37 points last week. And, I mean, I think they're still a team that is dangerous in many ways, and it looks like they're now finding or deciding to commit to the run game. And if they can do that, that's going to be an interesting part of this game, because we all know Tennessee, their bread and butter is running the ball, play action, controlling the clock, playing good, solid defense at this time of year. So that's the matchup I want to see, is can this defense of Tennessee kind of slow that run game down for Cincinnati, force them into passing, restrict the scoring, and keep it close enough that the Titans can stay in this game and find a way to win it. I just don't think it's going to happen, because Cincinnati is rolling at the moment. But that doesn't mean if they meet later on that I'm still going to pick this way, because I still think that this is one of those gotcha matchups, really. One of those where it's like, it doesn't matter how the teams line up outside of this game. It just seems like when they get in this game, both teams kind of play in a different way. They play different. Their mentality is different. And it results in a game that everybody's kind of like, wait, this looks nothing like what I expected it to be. And that's kind of how that playoff game was for me. I didn't expect it to be what it was. Came down to that field goal. So I think it's going to be a good game today, but I still think Cincinnati is going to score a little bit too much for Tennessee to hang around.
First thing first, before we move on, I just want to say you are very disrespectful, sir. You are disrespectful.
Why?
You gonna compare the Steelers defense to this Tennessee Titans defense? I'm talking about this year. I ain't talking about in the past. I ain't talking about Steel Curtain defense. I ain't talking about Joey Porter. I ain't talking about Troy Polamalu. I'm talking about right now, okay? The Minka Fitzpatrick-less Steelers. You comparing that defense to the Tennessee Titans defense this season, and you gonna talk about, oh, the Bengals put up 37 points last week. Okay. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. But I know Tommy's new to the show. I appreciate Tommy for loving his Michigan shirt and also being a smart man and picking the Titans to win this game. So Tommy, you're a friend to me. You're welcome to join the show anytime you want. Fresh one also said, I got King Henry and the Titans today is going to be. It's going to come down to who has the ball last. I'll be honest with you guys. It might be a mud stomp. I'm just being honest with y'all. Like I know the Bengals are favored by a point. It could get ugly. Just being honest with y'all. Speaking of ugly, this game gonna be ugly as well too. Looks like the Texans are already in the start of tank mode. Looks like they went ahead and took out the future Mr. Davis Mills.
No, that's not tanking. That's a smart decision.
You're not wrong. No, you're not wrong. But let's be real. Ain't nobody can say the Texans at this moment.
No,
can't nobody say the Texans at this moment. So I'm just joking, obviously, when it comes to putting Kyle Allen. And then there are some people that are Texas fans that feels like Kyle Allen is a better choice than Davis Mills. And we will see very soon. But unfortunately, just like we talk about when it comes to coaches being put in as an interim head coach, some of these guys don't get the opportunity to really get a chance to take the team under their wing and move forward instead of going out and go get that franchise quarterback, right? That's not the only guy, but there's a couple guys off the top of my head I can think of that came and replaced and maybe still got a chance, but still, where's that guy? I'm thinking of a guy like a Taylor Heineke, right? Or even like a Gardner Minshew. There were guys that came in.
Fitzpatrick, I think Fitzmagic is one of those guys.
Yeah, came in and played well, but they said, we're going to go ahead and go this direction, right? Taylor Heineke, he's getting a part 2, right? He's getting another chance to try to prove himself. And the Commanders after this season could still go and say, we're going a different direction, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing with this situation right now. Is even if Kyle Allen plays well, I'm seeing nothing but pre-draft boards talking about the Texans are taking a quarterback. But we talk about this every week when it comes to these college quarterbacks. I don't see a college quarterback coming in here for the Texans coming in and changing everything. And there's no disrespect to any of those quarterbacks out there, but this is a very dysfunctional, toxic place to be in an organization that don't know what the hell they are doing. So I'm going to leave it at that. I have the Dolphins by more than 14. This game is going to be over with by the first half, and we'll go on from there.
Yeah, I think you said it well, and I like that you pointed out Taylor Heineke because I think, to me, this is a very similar situation in a guy that you're going to come in, you're hoping that by coming in, he changes the mentality, he changes the atmosphere of the team, not necessarily that he's going to be an upgrade when it comes to talent level, because I think all of us can agree that it's not much of an upgrade here, right? But Taylor Heineke, what he's able to do in Washington, while he doesn't play lights out as far as the best stats or, wowing you with every throw, he does enough with the team to raise everybody's level of play to where they win with him in. I don't know how, but they win with him in. So that's what the Texans are hoping with Kyle Allen. The problem you're going to have with Kyle Allen is that it's easier said than done for this Texans team because they're just not good in so many places. And like you said, a college quarterback's not going to come in and change it because they need to fix a lot of holes that they have. So this should be an easy win for the Dolphins. I don't even see the Texans hanging around or even causing some sort of stir of upset. And if they do, then, hats off to Kyle Allen, and my bad, man, I owe you.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an understatement when it comes to hats off. Because again, this is an away game. This is in Houston. I could see, maybe the upset, right? Maybe you have the crowd
Mm-hmm.
behind you, but this is just, it's not gonna happen. Okay, we're gonna stop trying to sugarcoat this crap. It ain't gonna happen. All right. Fracture Wanda says, Kyle Allen, baby, the neck is gone finally. Of course, the neck is Davis Mills if you ain't keeping up. Tommy also says, I got the Dolphins in this one. Fracture Walnut says, Allen better not win today. We need that number one pick, son. Fracture Walnut, y'all are up by 2 games, okay? Y'all only have 1 win on the season. The number one pick is solidified, okay? Y'all have that. Y'all are not going to lose the number one pick. I promise you, you're not. You're not. You don't have to worry about that. You're fine. And Fracture One also says, X and Ish are right. The draft should be about building the rest of the team first. I mean, it should be, but we're not the GMs. We're not the ones, of course, unfortunately, helping these other teams out to fix their problems. These GMs do whatever the hell they want to do, and because they have egos the size of Alaska, they want to be right and they want to pick whoever they want to pick. And sometimes, unfortunately, we know too, it's all about who you know and all that crap like that too. So some folks will pick somebody that they daddy grandpa played with each other, or they was in high school or college roommates or whatnot. We're gonna go ahead and pick him just cause. All right, he a bum, your organization a bum, that's fine. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to, again, it's another game that it's just gonna be unfortunately with Justin Fields injury, I
Yep.
really was going to pick the upset. I was going to pick the Bears. I think the Jets, depending on how they are able to rebound from what's been going on last week, and to be honest with you, it's probably been going on for weeks on end, and maybe that was the straw that broke the camel's back. What Zach Wilson did in their press conference to go ahead and replace him with Mike White. Mike White is actually a decent quarterback. I don't think he's horrible. He's already come in for the Jets and played pretty decent. The thing is, though, is that the Bears, luckily enough for the Jets are able to play against a team that not that good. If they were playing against somebody else, I would probably pick the other team. That's not the Jets, but because they are playing the Bears without Justin Fields, I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to the Jets this week.
Yeah, I think, like you said, there's a lot of distractions going on, and it had Justin Fields been there healthy, I might have picked the Bears just because of all the distractions going on in New York and everything that they've got. But with Justin Fields out, I just don't see the Bears having a real solid chance. And then on top of that, I think we are kind of overlooking Joe Flacco a bit here. Okay, you got a Super Bowl winning quarterback
I don't
that's
think we're
coming
not.
in.
I've talked very highly of Joe Flacco. People laugh at me.
Okay, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He's coming into a situation where with a good team, because this team has proven that they're decent enough to hang around with all these teams. They beat Buffalo. I mean, come on now. And I think that Joe Flacco, he might be what they need. A just level-headed professional who can come in and perform and not do too much. I think if they try to make him do a lot more, you probably put yourself into trouble. But if you just have him come out there and manage the game, Jets should win this one and keep moving.
Now, I will piggyback off of this comment Fracture Walnut made, and we'll go ahead and move on in a little bit. He says Wilson is Sam Darnold 2.0. Jets need to look at taking a QB late from now on. The high picks ain't working for them. If you actually go back, let's go back all the way to Mark Sanchez. Drafting from Mark Sanchez to Geno Smith to Sam Darnold and now Zach Wilson. If I'm mistaken, I want to say the combined record for those guys was about 27 and 53, 54. Obviously, not great record. But if you look at a guy like Geno Smith, he was able to get away from that environment, and now he's flourishing and most likely could be comeback player of the year for this year. I don't think Sam Darnold's. I know everybody wants to throw Sam Darnold in the trash can, and I'm probably one of the first people to do that as well too. But maybe we should look at Sam Darnold. And I'm not talking about the Panthers. I'm talking about another team that actually can help you be a better, successful quarterback. Maybe it's not over for Sam Darnold. Zach Wilson, I think it's just too early to tell. And also, too, I've already said it since day one. Zach Wilson was too young of a guy to come into a city like New York and take on that pressure and try to be the guy, knowing good and damn well that the Jets as a franchise cannot rely on a guy like that to be the guy. So I agree with Fractor what I'm saying. You don't need a lot of people think you have to draft a quarterback in the first round to be successful. That's not true at all. You could draft a guy in the third round, fourth round, fifth round, whatever it is, and y'all can be successful. And surprisingly, for a city like New York, maybe you want to put in a guy that doesn't have that much amount of pressure, the third or fourth round guy, and you'd be surprised how much he can flourish without all that extra unnecessary pressure that's there, in my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Falcons and the Commanders. Ish, I'll let you take this one since I've been talking too much.
No, you're good. Yeah, Falcons and Commanders. This is another game where with a team, the Falcons, who's in the playoff hunt, they really need this game. They got to win this to keep pace with Tampa Bay, because I do think Tampa Bay is going to win that game at noon as well. And the Commanders, you can kind of keep playing spoiler, keep playing upset, and keep yourself in that wild card race. So it's going to be interesting to see the approach from both teams, because I mean, it's important on two fronts for the Commanders, while it's also important for Atlanta on multiple fronts. Now, the thing that I keep wondering, and the thing that I'm, waiting to see when that conversation starts up, Atlanta wasn't expected to be in this position.
Nope.
They weren't expected to do as well as they've been doing.
Yep.
And you got to think maybe, just maybe, there's some point here where they start to drop a couple games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does the talk then transfer to, hey, we weren't supposed to be here anyway. It's still a successful season? Because I feel like as soon as the talk turns to that, that's when you're no longer going to be in the playoff hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whether or not you're mathematically in the playoff hunt, mentally you won't be in the playoff hunt as soon as y'all start saying, well, we weren't supposed to be here anyway. So I'm hoping that they come out with the mentality of a team that is in the playoff hunt, is battling for a division, and go out to stomp on the Commanders. I don't think they will stomp them, but, nonetheless.
So it's funny you say everything that you said, because you're not wrong at all. Both teams, surprisingly for this game, this is a playoff implication game for both of these teams. So this is one of those games where I think everybody wants to, like, if you're not actually watching the game from first quarter to fourth quarter, like, take a look at it. Look at it on your Red Zone or Fire Stick, wherever you got all your games, and just peek in, because I think these are going to be two teams that are battle tested, that have been through a lot of different games through the season so far. And for both of these teams, not just Falcons. I know you said for the Falcons, the Falcons didn't expect them to be there, or even anybody in the league. The Commanders too. I mean, if you win this game, you're 7-5, right? You're 7-5, and you're rising from the ashes of the way that you started this season. And if you're able, bro, it just gives another feather in Ron Rivera's hat, all pun intended, because of his former quarterback Cam Newton, to be able to say, look, I'm a damn good head coach. Just last season, he was battling cancer, right? This season, he had a running back that got shot in the leg and still came back and playing this season. When it comes to the word resiliency, you need to have Ron Rivera's picture right there. I'm lost. I'm honestly at a loss for words of how to describe Ron Rivera and just who he is as a person. Fuck a coach, as a person. I would run through a wall for him. Just unfortunately, this week, I have to go with the Falcons, only because I like the way that the makeup of the Falcons are regarding this underdog mentality. Nobody wants us. Nobody cares about us. Nobody believes in us. You have a guy, Marcus Mariota, who's on his third team now, who just due to injury with the Tennessee Titans, it didn't work, right? Go to the Raiders, was there for 2 years, got injured once again. And I think a lot of people, even including myself, assume that, hey, maybe it might be over for you, okay? It just, injuries happen for guys that we thought and wanted to be great from college into the pros, and where it just didn't happen, right? Now you see you're playing with the Falcons. I said before the season, I said, watch out for the Falcons. You'll be surprised with what they can do. I'm still surprised that they're like a game back for the division. I was expecting them winning maybe 6-7 games. They have an opportunity to win 8, 9, even 10 games-ish. I don't think the season is over for them at all. They have an opportunity to win this game on the road and be able to seriously win the division. So that's why I'm picking the Falcons at this moment. Let's go ahead and get to the comment section. Travis Crow said this is going to be a good game. I 1,000% agree. Frax One also says at the beginning of the year, never thought this game would be one of importance. I thought both of these games would be a dumpster fire right now. But I said it from the beginning, baby. That's why they play the game, right? That's why we play the game, because looking at the season, I mean, before the season, looking at these schedules, that wasn't one of the games that I'd say, hey, let's circle that one for week 12, right? All right, let's go ahead and move on. Now, this probably was one of those games you might want to circle before the season started. Now you want to go ahead and just put a big old X. Now I'm good. I don't want to watch this game. Ish, go ahead and start this one off.
Yeah, I mean, Broncos, Panthers, what can you say? Sam Darnold getting the start, that's going to be an interesting situation. Apparently, some of the players have been calling for him to get the start, and so now he does have that chance and that opportunity, and we're gonna see what he has to offer. Does he change some things for the Carolina Panthers? I don't know. But hey, it can't be worse than what we've already seen, so that's a good part. For the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, is he going to continue to be Russell Wilson? I think the difference here has to be Denver's defense, and they play well. This defense, they don't allow a lot of points. They play well. It's just this offense is dead last in scoring points. So if the Denver offense can show up, then they're gonna win this game. But I just don't have faith in Russell Wilson. I think that Carolina with Sam Darnold, they're gonna have a renewed vigor about them, and they're gonna come out and look to rally behind their guy, because apparently he's their guy. So we'll see.
I will say this. Before me talking about the Broncos and the pick, what in the quarterback carousel is going on in Carolina?
Yo, leave them alone, man. They just they think the more you mix it up, the harder it is to game plan against them.
This is NFL football. This is not college. It's not even high school, and we can't put one starting quarterback in for the whole year. We have got this is quarterback number 3 now. I mean, I know obviously Sam Darnold played already.
I think PJ Walker got hurt, and if he wasn't hurt, he would be starting.
Well, we need to go back to Baker then. Okay, go back to Baker. Damn it.
Why Baker?
Well, that's like I said earlier. Then, if we continue to see, obviously Sam Darnold isn't too horrible, right? He's, for some people, feel as though he's okay, right? He's not that horrible. It could be worse. He could be Nathan Peterman, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's obviously good enough to play. Is it the Jets, or is it just the Panthers organization that's holding back the decency of Sam Darnold? I'm not going to say greatness, because I haven't seen it really, but I'm going to say the decency of Sam Darnold. Is that the case, Ish?
I honestly don't know. I just, the reports came out that players wanted him to play. There were some players calling for him. They felt like he deserved an opportunity. So here he is. He's getting his opportunity, and hopefully he makes the most of it, and maybe he makes them reconsider. They are picking high enough that they can select one of these quarterbacks that are going to be available that we've already kind of alluded to. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if Sam Darnold can make them change their mind. Although I just don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if he's really going to be that much of a pickup, but I'm hoping he is, so that I can get this pick right.
All right, let's go ahead and get to the comment section. First one that says bounce back game for Russ here. This will be the game where he turns it around, and he said, I hope at least for next year. He had a little corrected statement. Also, as well, Freshwater says, with that statement, Ish, the interim coach will not be there next season.
No.
Also, y'all didn't talk about it, but the Commanders showing love to Sean Taylor today. You are correct. We did not talk about that. And before we move on, we will, of course, definitely give our love and respect to one of the greatest safeties. Some people will say the greatest safety, depending on how you look at it. No disrespect to Sean Taylor and the family, but you have to play a little longer for me to put you in that realm. But in our hearts and forever, Sean Taylor bad man. I was lucky enough to watch him from college and a little bit, of course, with the Washington Redskins at the time. Um, it's 15 years ish, like 15 years. I mean, it seemed like it was not 15 years ago, but unfortunately, that's just how time is. Time goes by, and you don't realize how fast it goes, right? So let's give a quick RIP and shout out to Sean Taylor ish.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a great safety. Um, I mean, he honestly really, I think, was towards the end of a dying breed of safeties. I don't think they make them like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been interesting to see him continue. Life taken way too soon. Prayers go out to his family for that continued comfort and just guidance.
1000% agree. Let's go ahead and get on to Don't Be Upset. And for my Don't Be Upset pick, I have the Jaguars over the Ravens. I have that pick. I'll talk a little bit more about that once we get to that game and ish.
Yeah, I got the Cardinals over the Chargers. I think there's a lot going on in LA at the moment for both teams. And I just think that, this is a big game for the Cardinals. This is to me, almost a must win game for the Cardinals, not necessarily to make the playoffs or anything. But I think jobs are on the line.
Jobs, yeah.
And
Yeah, I 1000% agree on that.
and Cliff, if you don't win this game, I mean, I could see him being let go after this game, to be honest.
Ooh, you talk about people's money. You talking about them pocketbooks. Stop being disrespectful like that, man. You being disrespectful.
I mean, I'm just trying to say, if you don't win this one,
You just trying to say, I got you. Hey, I got you. Jobs could be gone. I got you. And as always, check out Imperial King's Barbershop. Make sure you ask for Jason. You can go ahead and check everybody out at 9218 FM 1960. Go ahead and give them a call at 346-355-8255. Get you that fade, that sharp cut, and make sure you're looking good for this upcoming week of the work week. And as well, let's go ahead and get right into If I Was a Betting Man. You already know what to do. Check us out on Prize Picks. Promo code is PR-JVA61PN if you want to earn you a couple extra dollars. And right at the moment, my Prize Picks, I have Kyle Allen, of course, new quarterback one for the Houston Texans. I have him under 34 pass attempts because, one, they're going to lose the game anyways. But if he throws for more than 35 passes, they're going to lose the game. So it shouldn't be no reason why he's throwing more than 35 passing attempts. So let's go ahead and take the under on that. I have Taylor Heineke. I have him over half an interception, meaning that he'll throw at least one. If you look back to the games that he started dating back to week 8, he has thrown at least one interception every game except for last week when they played against the Texans. So he's probably due for another interception this week. I have my boy Joey Sly back on the schedule. He's going to go over for 1.5 field goals yet again. And I also have the Titans defense over 2.5 sacks. If y'all remember last time they played the Bengals and Jerry Burrow, they was able to account for 9, and their defense is better this season than it was last season. I don't expect 9 again, but I'm hoping for at least 3. So let's go ahead and get Joey Burrow to the ground. Let's go ahead and move on to, speaking of the Ravens-Jags, I'll talk about this very shortly, and I'll go ahead and give it to Ish. It's not that I don't think the Ravens are a good team because they have won 4 straight and could potentially win 5 in a row against the Jags. If you just watch the way they've been playing over the last couple of weeks, I'm kind of concerned. They only beat the Panthers by 10 points last week. They were a 13-point favorite against the Panthers, and I'm a little confused now. The Jaguars definitely are not as good as when they first came out the gate, beginning of the season. I think there were some hopes at one point in time, and I think those hopes have kind of crashed and burned for the Jacksonville Jaguars and the rest of those guys over there. But I think this is a good spoil game. I think this is a game that it kind of reminds me of the Colts and the Jaguars last season, where the Colts just needed a win in Jacksonville to get into the playoffs. Obviously, that's not the same for the Ravens, but I think if you take this team a little lightly coming into Jacksonville, I think they could find a way to bite you, all pun intended, and maybe pull off the upset-ish.
Yeah, I hear everything you're saying because I have been concerned by some of the play from Baltimore, especially only scoring 13 points last week. It was a decent Carolina defense, but still, you would expect that they would score more. Lamar seems a little bit off with some of the receivers, although is that anything new? Um, I just think that ultimately, Cincinnati being just a game back, the playoff hunt really starting to tighten up, really starting to get in the playoff season. See them just going out and taking care of business. I think this is a business game. You put on your suit, put on your tie, lace it up real nice, get out there, get your briefcase, go to work. And I think that's what they're going to do today. They're going to go to work, take care of the business, and then go home. I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it has to be pretty because I think Jacksonville is one of those pesky teams, or London, like I like to call them. They're one of those pesky teams that they just find a way to stick around and just make it interesting throughout the game, even though they don't. I don't even think they feel like they can win most of the time. I think they're just hanging around there just to annoy the hell out of everybody. So I'm expecting more of the same from them. It's going to be an annoying game for Baltimore, but they'll ultimately come out with the win.
Not mad at that. Take it all from you. Let's go ahead and move on. I'll let you go ahead and finish. Or sorry, continue on with your takes as well. Go ahead and take this one, sir.
Yeah, I've said it for a couple weeks now. I'm not convinced with the Chargers. I'm not convinced by the Chargers. I think there's just so much going on. Even though they played the Chiefs well last week, I think that's just one of those games where they get up for that game. They always play well against the Chiefs. I don't think it really says anything about their form because going into that game, I think you would definitely say that Chiefs game was an anomaly. That Chiefs game was them returning to old form, but in reality, they haven't been showing that this season. And I think when you play a divisional team, it's easier to do that. But against someone else, can you do that? And that is where I just think for the Cardinals, they've got the weapons, they've got the pieces. They just haven't been able to put it together for some reason for the past couple of seasons in the second half of the season. And now it's more of the same. But I think what makes this year different and what makes this game different, like I said earlier, jobs are on the line. Jobs are on the line here. And if you're Cliff Kingsbury, you cannot afford to drop this game. So I think Cardinals are going to come out. He's going to have them ready to go, fired up to play, and they're going to find a way to win this game.
Especially being 4-7 and coming off of a butt whooping on Monday Night Football this past week. You're not wrong at all. The reason why I picked the Chargers is because if it's not now, then when? When it comes to getting geared up for the playoffs,
Next year?
I expect them. I expect them to make the playoffs this year, and this has to be the game, or this round, this week or next week is going to have to be the time where hey, we got to start getting things going. He was able to bring back Mike Williams. Unfortunately, he gets hurt again. Re-injures the other ankle. I'm sorry, injures the other ankle that he comes back from. Going to be out again in this game. But look, at the end of the day, when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are healthy, they are easily a top 3, 1-2 wide receiver punch in the league, easily. Um, but I'm not giving any excuse to Justin Herbert for his lack of performance. If you want to be the franchise guy, if you want to be the guy that's compared to Patrick Mahomes in your division, you want to be the guy that wants to take your team to the Super Bowl, you want to be the guy that you want to be another guy that gets another $100 million contract. These are those times that you have to step up. This is a game. You're a 2.5-point favorite. This is the time where you are going to have to prove. Not, and again, honestly, is forget everybody else. Let's prove it to yourself first, Justin Herbert. Let's prove it to yourself that you can do this, and you can be successful at this level of football, and being able to win a game with not everybody around you that's at your disposal. So we'll see what happens with that one. Let's go ahead and move on and stay on the West Coast. And we'll go to the Raiders and the Seahawks. I'll be very, very brief. The Raiders suck. The Seahawks don't. And I'm going to leave it at that ish.
Um, You're so mean, bro.
I know. The Raiders
I
pissed me off.
wanna,
Okay, even though I picked them last week and they made me right. I just can't stand this damn team, this organization, because it for the amount of great history that the Raiders have from the 70s and the 80s and blah blah blah. From the 90s to now, y'all have sucked. And I don't know what it. I really don't know what it is. You change cities, you still suck. You change coaches, you still suck. You change players, you still suck. I don't know what it is. Ish, can you please help me?
you know, I don't
Is it
know.
Tom Brady? Ever since the Tuck rule, I mean, that's really what it's been. Is it the Tom Brady cursed Tuck rule that just have y'all not being successful? Ish, oh, my bad, cutting you off. I don't understand it. Please
No, I really don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna just say they could win the game, possibly. There's a chance.
You don't even believe that because you was hesitating even trying to say that.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Okay, that's what I thought. Let's go ahead and move on because again, no, all disrespect to the Raiders and Raiders fans.
Dang, no,
y'all don't deserve to be talked about in any type of high glowing light for these last couple of years. Period. When it comes to and look, John Gruden, look, I'm not about to get on him. It is what it is. We'll figure out the emails are real and all that good stuff. Start from court, John Gruden and Henry Ruggs the third to why not keep the goddamn coach that's helped you get to the playoffs and the team rallies behind him? No, let's go ahead and fire him, bring in a guy who last time he coached, he reneged on trying to coach for a team because he said, oh, you know what? Psych, I'm going to go ahead and not coach the Colts. I'm going to go back to the Patriots. And you thought this guy was going to help you become anywhere near successful? But it's all good. The Raiders, y'all going to find out the hard way. I hope y'all 6-11 for the next 6 more years and enjoy that record. Fractured Wanda says McDaniel should be the last coach to be head coach from the Pats tree. Yeah, we know that one. All right, Rams and Chiefs. Another one of those games where, like I told y'all, this NFL slate, especially towards the end of the day, is not that pretty. If the Chiefs don't beat the Rams by 18, I don't know. This game should be close. This game should not be close. Cooper Kupp is out for the rest of the season, and most likely Matt Stafford might be out for the rest of the season as well too, depending on how they reevaluate him as well after his injury. With that being said, it's over. I mean, the season is over for the Rams. I'm sorry, Aaron Donald, for wasting another season for you or whatnot. I'm sorry for everybody else in that. Bobby Wagner for coming into this organization thinking that they were going to do something. I'm talking about the Rams. And they have not. They have underachieved, and the Chiefs continue to keep being the cream of the crop of the AFC West and should blow out this team and take care of business and have another playoff run.
Yeah, let's not be disrespectful to the Rams, okay? I don't think it's going to be 18 points, or I don't even really see this over 15 points.
It's going to be over 21 points. Mark it right here. XtalknIsh on this show. Chiefs beating that ass by 20. It's going to be a Michigan beat down.
Why you gotta keep bringing that up?
Sorry. I don't know. It just keeps coming up. I don't know.
The Chiefs just need to win this game. Do what they need to do. What they do. Prepare for the playoffs. Put the building blocks in place to continue. Because ultimately, the goal for the Chiefs is to make it back to the Super Bowl. And games like these are games that you can't drop because teams that win Super Bowls don't drop games like this. That's all I'm gonna say about it.
That's it.
We'll keep it moving.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for seeing the light. Saints and 49ers. Again, there's another game that we talked about. Hey, this is a good team versus a bad team. Should be no reason why the Saints win this game. Just out of just pure good-ass game planning by Dennis Allen and the crew and Taysom Hill doing Swiss Army knife things. That's the only reason why the Saints win this game. Other than that, 49ers are at home, 9-point favorite. They should be trying to get all those weapons running on full cylinders and again, getting ready for a playoff run. That's another team that I feel as though can make it in that fourth spot in the NFC and make a run. Ish.
Yeah, same old thing here. You got San Francisco playing New Orleans, and I still think New Orleans. We shouldn't sleep on New Orleans. New Orleans got the pieces in place that they can keep this game interesting and they can find a way to win it. But I always am high on San Francisco towards the end of the season because for some reason they turn it on towards the end of the season. It's like the playoffs start approaching and they are like, oh, okay, don't matter how we played the rest of the season. Now it's time to kick it into gear. And then they find a way to just kind of get on this roll that, like last year, they end up further than people expected them to be. So I think San Francisco is another one of those games where you're going to continue to build familiarity between all these pieces that you have. You're going to continue to kind of refine your offensive identity with all these new pieces that you have. And you're going to go out there and you're going to get to play against a team in New Orleans, which they have a really good defense, a decent defense, a good cover corner. And you're going to try some things. You're going to fail at some. You're going to find some things that are going to work, and you're going to prepare for the playoffs. I think you find a way to win this game ultimately. And if that defense continues in the manner that they have been playing, D'Amico Ryans, his name is only going to get hotter in this coaching market.
At the moment, the 49ers are actually the number 3 seed in the NFC if the playoffs were to start right now. Even with 6 wins due to, of course, the division, they are number 3 now, of course. In the wild card, you have Dallas, the Giants, and Seattle. The Cowboys have 8 wins. It could be a rematch of the 49ers and the Cowboys in the first round like it was last year, but instead of the Cowboys being home, who knows, maybe we could see a matchup of the 49ers and Cowboys in San Francisco this year. And that'll be interesting as well to see, because maybe Dallas could revenge their loss from last year and maybe upset the 49ers at home. I can see that happen. So, I mean, the NFC is what I thought it would be when it comes to being wide open, but really just being, I think, 2, 3, or 4 teams that I expect to win the Super Bowl out of that conference. But we'll definitely keep an eye on the NFC and how that all rounds out. Fresh One that says this game is where the questions about Jimmy G being the guy watch. So we have to see how well Jimmy G played well on Monday Night Football. You can't take that away from him at all. 4 touchdowns, balling, right? This is another game. 2 or 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. You do that, you continue to keep momentum rolling, and so watch out, right? We talked about it since week 2. Watch out for the 49ers and Titans and teams like that to get better in the second half of the season. All right, we'll finish it off with Sunday Night Football. Like I said, no Monday Night Football this week, so this will be the last game of this Week 12 slate. Packers and Eagles, for the most part, just the same thing of the last 3 games we talked about. A good team supposed to beat a bad team. I know Aaron Rodgers, did his stuff dizzle against the Bills and wanted to, play upset city over there, but I don't think it's going to happen coming into Philadelphia. I don't think Jalen Hurts and the crew allowed that to happen. And the Packers, let's be real, the Packers is not a good team this year.
I still don't believe in the Packers. I've already said it, and I'm going to continue to say it. Yep, don't believe them. Don't think that they're doing anything this year. Aaron Rodgers is going to leave, and then on to the future with the Green Bay Packers. I regret picking them at the beginning of the season to win the division, and yeah, I don't like y'all.
And also, my apologies. I didn't mean the Bills with the upset. My bad. I meant the Cowboys when they upset the Cowboys a couple weeks ago. Again, I don't see that happening with this team. I know, again, the Packers were able to get a win off of an NFC East opponent. I don't see that happening with the Eagles. And as well, I will say this: if the Eagles lose this game, we might have to start raising our eyebrows a little bit and start asking some questions regarding the Eagles team, because I've told you this before. Teams that go undefeated for a long time, and then all of a sudden they lose 1 or 2 games, things start getting haywire, and then they lose their first game of the playoffs, and all of a sudden you don't hear from them that season. I mean, we saw last year with the Steelers, right? I'm not saying that's the same thing with the Eagles. The Eagles are a much better team than the Steelers were last year, but this is a game that you need to win. There is no reason why the Eagles should not win this game. And as always, we will follow up you guys on Tuesday to talk more about that game and, of course, all the other games we talked about here on Sunday. We hope you guys, as always, have a great Sunday. And unfortunately, since there is no Monday Night Football, go ahead and check out the World Cup, especially my Americans out here. Y'all be hating on El Football. Go enjoy yourself some World Cup. Why, expand your mind, baby. Expand your mind. I can't just be locked up in one little box watching football, basketball, baseball. enjoy these sports we have out here. After this, go play out some pickleball or something. Go play some smash ball.
Not
Go
the
do something else.
pickleball.
I mean, I'm just saying, we can't be out here doing the same old things our grandpappers used to do back in the day. Change it up, switch it up, do a little sound. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. All right, with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. We'll see y'all on Tuesday for Week 12 recap. And as always, we appreciate y'all for joining XtalknIsh. We'll see y'all on Tuesday.